What's going on, party people? My name is Solomon. I am an artist, and thus I go by Solomon the Artiste. In the previous video, I was speaking a lot on Kelly Stamps, and I was speaking about her because I feel like she helps to drive the story that I'm trying to tell. In the sense that she is not an artist in the sense of, pursuing acting, singing, things like that. And so the reason I bring her up is to, although it still kind of throws my what's the word that I'm looking for? My narrative out of whack. I feel that, no, not necessarily. Regardless of whether you're an artist or not, if you pick up yourself and move somewhere, you're pretty much starting from scratch. Unless you're moving because a certain job opportunity opened up and you have to relocate for said job, then that's a different thing. You probably don't have debt, or even if you do, you already have a job that is set up for you. And if you're relocating for a job, your skill set is probably highly needed, highly in demand, As an artist, if you're picking up and moving elsewhere because that location, is far more, because that location is where you need to be to really pursue your artly intentions, let's put it like that. I'm having a brain fart as we speak. If that's what you need to do, then that's what you do. However, what people forget, regardless of where you're moving to, is you're moving to a brand new place. Even if you know people, you're moving to a brand new place, to a brand new way of life. If you're a New Yorker and you're moving to LA, you already know, okay, there's more driving than there is subway or metro services. And it switches when you come to New York from LA or wherever else. Main way of getting around is the subway. And so I do think it's a little different in New York. It's a little easier in New York because if you don't have to have a car, you can get to where you need to get to. Whereas here in LA, you can still get to where you need to get to. I don't think the metro system here is necessarily that bad. It's just incomparable to New York. That's the thing. And so, with that in mind, I think what also happens is that even though we don't acknowledge it or really receive it as a part of what's bringing us down, the idea that you have to pick up and the idea that you're in a completely new place means that you have to physically and mentally and spiritually redetermine your space. You've got to get used to something all over again. And there is, even when it's exciting to be in a new place and look around and see everything, it's still a lot to take in and a lot to handle, because you're not just taking everything in, you're trying to subconsciously remember everything. You live here now. You've got to know where the heck you're at. And that's a lot to deal with. And then usually when people pick up and move to LA or move to New York, particularly as an artist, you have goals and dreams and aspirations. So not only that on your mind, you have auditions on your mind. You have, venues that you want to perform at as a singer on your mind. Not only are you trying to make sure that you are in a great place to survive living in this new artistic environment, you're trying to make sure that you have the art to suffice being in that environment. It defeats its purpose to pick up and move to an artistic city and have nothing to offer if you're moving there to thrive, And so that's something that Kelly said in her video that I thought was very, and I said it as well, I thought it was funny. Like I'm kind of telling on myself a little bit. Like I watched some of the video, but I didn't watch the whole video. So I watched the entire video right before shooting this video here that I'm filming. And I just thought it was funny, like, oh, she said you should make sure that you are prepared and financially stable and whatnot before you pick up and go elsewhere. And it's true. That's what I did before I moved to LA. I worked like a dog at my survival job in New York, and I saved up a good, and people might say this isn't that much, and technically it isn't, but considering how much I knew I was going to be paying in rent, and what I really, and considering the amount of auditions and everything I had prepared to do while out here, I thought that I was pretty much set. You know, I had about $5,000 that I moved with. And so I knew that if nothing else, I had a good, at least over 6 months, if I considering that I have to eat and whatnot, I knew I had at least 6 months worth of rent situated, which was great. And that took some stress off of me because I knew my living situation is fine. I've just got to book something or find a job out here. And I find in LA, because LA is LA, you know, a lot of people are reluctant to hire you if you are clearly the artist type, you know. And they're quick to fire you if you're not as reliable as you said that you would be. I didn't experience that per se. I was smart enough to get the type of jobs that are befitting of an artist. Like I do like a lot of promo work and things like that out here. But additionally, the other survival job I have is working with film festivals. And so film festivals exist everywhere. And there are plenty of them here in LA, obviously, a multitude of them in New York. And, you know, if I got to pick up and travel for a week or so to go and do a festival, I don't mind doing it because the lump sum that I make for that week or 2 or 3 will suffice me for, again, a couple of months while I pursue my artistic endeavors, you know. Where am I at? 7:23. So, yeah. But the other thing too is that she's right about is trying to have a social life. If you, just like she went through New York, I'm kind of going through it here in LA, because at the end of the day, while I'm fortunate enough to always have the money to pay my rent and to ensure that I eat, I have to limit what I do outside of those things. You know, I have to ensure that I have the money to get to my auditions, considering that it's not like New York out here where I can just take a train and be at my destination in however time. Here I have to, you know, I don't mind walking to the subway, but when I get off the train, I still have to walk. It feels like further than I had to walk to get to the subway to begin with, you know. And then it's mostly hot out here, although these January, February months have been a lie, which is a huge misconception about Cali, that it's always hot out here. It's not. But I digress. What I find is that what I'm trying to say is that I have to make sure that I have the money to pay my rent, the money to eat, the money to get to auditions. I've got to make sure that I am able to look good for my auditions, but that's something I take care of. I just do my own. I just bought clippers and shaved myself because I'm not paying LA prices to go to a barber shop. I'm just not doing it. Absolutely not. I'd rather just shave everything off, curl my mustache, and call it a sight. But yeah, but what I'm gonna see, I digress again. What I'm trying to say is that it is hard to meet people out here, especially if you don't have the finances to get around. In New York, get on a train, come off somewhere, and go to some bar somewhere. Like on the Lower East Side, there's so much character and so many characters. You know, you can come off the train and go anywhere and just speak to some random person and have a grand old time. You can do that too here in LA, but you know, New York is a city that never sleeps. You know, that's the thing. Compared to LA, in LA, the city falls asleep. You know, like the subway stops running pretty much at midnight. or at least it seems like that's changing now. It seems like now, it seems like they might run at night, but it's like a train every hour or something to that effect. I don't know, but either way. Yeah, out here it's just difficult. Like if you don't have the money to get to places, then you're just kind of screwed. And then dating out here for me has been interesting. I'm trying to decide if I want to speak on this or not, but at first I thought, and I'll say this until the next video. I thought that I was having a better time dating out here in LA versus New York, but I've grown to realize that it's not exactly what I thought. I will tell you more in the next video. Peace out, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please tell other people to come and watch and subscribe. It will help me out a great deal. Really. Yeah. Again, peace. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.